Majesties here present, the Forum of Desopadec Indigenous Contractors, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, the slide. I'm so pleased to be here to discuss one very important issue that affects every one of us. And that issue is productivity. Like what our people will say, if you not work, you know they do waiting, you not go chop. And productivity, where is this boy? Are you there? Productivity is the driver of economic growth, is the engine of economic growth. And productivity can be defined as the utilization of both human resources, financial resources, and infrastructure to provide goods and services. Luckily for us, in the South-South region, the oil producing area, we are about 43 million. And out of that 43 million population, 67% of that population is within the productive age. So our productivity ought to be high. But unfortunately, in this region, we solely depend on oil, abandoning other sectors. Let's move to the next slide. Move on. Now, what are the factors that influences productivity? One of them is human capital development. If you don't have a skilled worker, somebody that have knowledge of what is going to produce, he will not do what? He can't be able to produce. If you don't have infrastructure, I give you an example. Now, most of the times we do empowerment by sewing machine for people, by wheelbarrow. You see in some states they buy wheelbarrow, but in Delta State we don't do that. We buy sewing machine, and you know, if you are using sewing machine without electricity, I don't know how efficient you are going to be. If I give you a sewing machine today, are you going to be manually operating the sewing machine, doing your leg like this, quaka, 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 quaka? Without electricity, you cannot work. So we need what? Infrastructure, like road, electricity. And the moment you have electricity, productivity will be what? Will increase. Because if there is electricity, a lot of persons that are unemployed will be what? Engaged. Because they can use the electricity to do a lot of things. Some of them can be manufacturing cellophane bags, buying cellophane bag, seal it into shapes, and begin to sell. Then good governance. If there is no good governance, there will be no what? Productivity. Let me give this example. Instead of me to engage possibly in agriculture or doing useful thing, then when we have a bad system of governance where the political class are so enriched, then those working hard to produce good will be what? Will be discouraged. They wouldn't want to continue producing. Why am I wasting time establishing a factory when I can join one political party and steal money and be a big man in the street? Why am I wasting time building a factory? Why am I wasting my money? Why am I wasting my time? Setting up a poultry farm. Why am I wasting my time? Setting up when there is bad governance, I can get there, get some billions of naira and begin to throw around the community than myself processing starch to one thing or the other, or processing our local palm wine to what we call ogogoro and blending it. You know that we can blend the same local ogogoro with our root and still sell it like the white man's whiskey. You know that? With our traditional root, we blend it, give it a new color, and sell it at the same price. Package it properly like the white man's whiskey. Then social stability and insecurity. Now, you see that in some part of Delta State, I give example, Obiaruku and Abraka, they cannot cross River Ethiop to go to the farm at the back of River Ethiop. Why? Because the Fulani herdsmen, they've taken over that region. So if there is no social stability and security, you cannot do production. There's nothing you are going to do. You can't go to your farm and work when you know if you go to your farm, you are facing danger. You won't. You don't need to waste your time. Then, the last factor there is economic diversification, not facing only one sector. Just like in the Niger Delta, our concentration is on oil and gas. And we abandon our traditional occupation. Let me just give you one example. Formerly, in Urobo land, people used to rear goats. Is that not? Rear goats, rear chicken, and so on. But some persons, we had our own indigenous beans type. We have our traditional beans until these beans from the north started coming. And we begin to embrace that beans from the north, abandon our own. Then there was a time around in the 80s where community started raising regulations that no rearing of goat. Today, all of us depend on Hausa goat. Is that not? We go to market to do what? To buy Hausa goat. You hardly see goat. Like my son called me, he said, Daddy, why are you people complaining about Fulanis? If all of us stock our forest with cow, will Fulani bring their cows down to the south? The answer is what? No. Because if you are having 10 cows, I'm having 10, Obevra is having 10, Professor Wefeda 10, Professor Yomere 10, then I don't think we'll go to the north and begin to import cow to the southern part of the country. So we have to diversify our economy, not looking at only the oil sector, but look at our traditional source of income, which is fishing and what? Fishing and what? Farming. The next one. Now, current state of productivity in our region. Labor productivity has grown slowly over the past decade. Because of what? Heavy dependence on what? On what? On oil revenue. So nobody is interested. All we need to do is to go to Abuja and share oil proceeds. Nobody is interested in manufacturing. Now, if you look at that statistics there, you see that the informal sector contributes 80% of our GDP, while the manufacturing sector contributes what? 10%. And that is not good enough. When the informal sector is contributing 80%, the manufacturing sector that's supposed to be on top is now at the base. Let's move to the next slide. Now, what are the economic implications of low productivity? When you don't produce, you not go do waiting, you not go chop. If you not produce, you not go chop. When you are producing, that is when you can engage people. So, low productivity, if there is low productivity, it means the implication is that there will be what? There will be youth unemployment. Nobody is producing. Who is going to employ? If I'm not producing, let's assume I own a pure water factory. I need a sales guy, is that not? I also need workers that will be sealing the pure water, is that not? I also need a driver that will convey the pure water from one end to another. So by so doing, I will engage more than 10 persons. But if I'm not producing, will I engage anybody? The answer is no. Then we cannot compete. If we are not producing, we cannot compete. Or like Nigeria, for example, we solely depend on what? On import. Is that not? We import even our shoes we wear. We import virtually everything in this country, even toothpick, into this country. Then when you are not producing, when you are not exporting, what will happen to your currency? Your currency will do what? Be devalued, just like the situation we find ourselves today. A naira is equivalent to $1 is equivalent to 1,500 naira. Because we are not producing, we are not exporting, we are not competing with our international counterparts. When you are not producing, you can't pay good salary. So low wage, and when you have low wage, you also have poor standard of what? Living. Even the little ones producing, they also pay very low wage. You see that if you go around and ask some of these workers, how much do they pay you in a month? Some of them, they pay them 30,000 naira, 40,000 naira per month. And a bag of rice today is 75,000 naira. You just imagine paying somebody 30,000 naira. Then it means that that person cannot summon courage to buy a bag of rice. He will join cooperative, borrow money to do what? To buy a bag of rice for this Christmas. When you are not producing, what will happen? There will be inflation. Few years ago, a bag of cement was 5,000 naira. Today, a bag of cement is about 11,500. You see that the price of things are increasing on a daily basis. If you go and buy this shirt, 2,000 naira today, by the time you go in the evening, the woman will tell you, oh boy, they don't add money. The same thing you bought in the morning, by 4 o'clock, if you go back to that place, they will tell you, they don't add money. We don't call them furniture, they don't add money. The price instantly change. So when there is no production, inflation rate will be high. And if there is no production, there will be persistent poverty. There is persistent poverty. And poverty is also associated with crime. Because when you are hungry, you have to look for something to eat. Either you acquire the thing you want to eat genuinely, or you take it by what? By force. So there is a correlation between poverty and what? And crime. And when there is no production, there is inequality. Some persons will be benefiting while others will be going down. So you see the gap between the rich and the poor will be so what? Will be so large. And once that gap is so large, the poor will begin to think evil about the rich. And that is what we see in most of our communities. Let's go to the next slide. What are the problems associated with poor productivity in our region? One, low economic growth despite our wealth. Because we are not investing our oil money into manufacturing. We get this oil money, we spend it on things that will not boost our economy. Secondly, youth unemployment, underemployment, and skill gap. There are limited technical and vocational training. Yes, in Delta State, as of a time, Delta State government tried to revive the technical and vocational schools in the state. But if you go back to those schools, you will not see any machine. Any machine. But if we have technical, well-skilled, if we have efficient vocational training, you see that people can fabricate things on their own. What are they doing in China? What is happening in China? It's just high technical training. They fabricate a lot of things. They can even fabricate rubber slippers. They export it to us. Virtually all the things you see in Nigerian market, about 70% of them emanate from China. Weak industrial base. In the 70s, we have Lever Brothers, Coca-Cola, a lot of companies. And when you pass out from secondary school, you just move to Lagos, you get a job. Is that not? But today, if you like, get a PhD. You need the grace of God to secure an employment, even with a PhD. But those days, with your school certs, once you just finish, you get to Lagos, you are now working in Lever Brothers. But today, where is Lever Brothers? They've all left Nigeria to other countries. They produce there at a cheap rate and export to Nigeria. Neglect of other sectors. I've said that before. Because of oil, we've neglected our farming and the manufacturing sector, especially in the Niger Delta. Now, when you look at our standard of living, among us in the Niger Delta, our standard of living, you know that only few persons are living large, while others are living below average. And when I was the dean of students at Delta State University, I just discovered that most of our persons cannot pay school fees of 150,000 naira. To the extent that we started loaning. Our vice chancellor then developed. I said, no. How much is 150,000 naira? How much is 150,000 naira that a parent cannot afford in a year? Until I saw the reality that most of us cannot afford 150,000 naira. So let's move to the next slide. Environmental degradation. Now, there was a time I went to a village. I saw a dead river at Rumuji in Rivers State. I saw a dead river, a river that is dead completely. I went to see one of my boys when the father-in-law or the mother-in-law died. And when I got there, I stopped. I saw a dead river completely. You will not see even any organism growing in that river. What is causing that environmental degradation? One, this is an oil-rich region, is that not? Today, we are still flaring gas, is that not? Today, there is always oil spill. Some of us are involved in what you call fire, illegal refining. Yes, because they want to make money. They are involved in illegal refining. These illegal refineries, what they've done to the Niger Delta environment is so enormous. At times, when I talk to some of my colleagues that the day I will give inaugural lecture, people will not sleep. Because I will tell them that even where they are, sitting down where we are, we are not safe. You don't even know the quality of the air that you are breathing. You don't even know the quality of the food that you are eating. Where is the food sourced from? I won't go take pepper soup. Give me fresh fish, pepper soup. Where is the fish coming from? What is in that fish you are eating? The Niger Delta region has suffered great environmental damage resulting from oil pollution and other things. There are the informal sector, we ignore the informal sector that can contribute significantly to the pollution state of your environment. I give an example. You live in a compound with somebody who is doing mechanic. He repairs car within your compound where your children are playing. He will dispose the engine oil on the soil there. Is that not? He will use petrol to wash the engine and also discharge them into the soil. The children are playing there, ingesting the soil. You, that is also in that compound, you are also inhaling the emission from the soil. By unconsciously, you also ingest the soil. Because once you touch your hand here, your hand is contaminated with dust already on this platform. You just imagine, you will be in your house quietly, you have a welder. He will be fabricating, sharpening, using those machines, releasing metal emission. You will inhale it in your house. Once you look at our obituary advert, you see 48 years gone too soon. When you ask, they said, oh, the person died of, especially female, breast cancer, cervical cancer. What are the issues responsible for such occurrence? It's just environmental pollution. So let's continue. Governance, bad governance, and mismanagement of government what? Revenue. Even the revenue generated from oil are also mismanaged. When it's not properly utilized, it can lead to what? Low productivity. Then the next one is increased rates of drug abuse, cultism, cybercrime. Most of these young people don't want to do any production today. Everybody wants to be a Yahoo boy. All the young ones, they want to be a Yahoo boy. One, because they felt that is the easiest and the quickest way to amass wealth. And when you have a population that is engaged in drug abuse, I don't think such population will be productive after taking Colos or Tramadol. Such a child cannot do any meaningful production. And you know, there is association between drug usage and crime. So let's move. No, go back. Insecurity and militancy. All of us are very conversant with militancy in the Niger Delta. So move to the next slide. Now, when you look at that figure shows the contribution of each of the states to the GDP. You see that Lagos is highest. Lagos contributes about 38.14 trillion, followed by Abuja. They are not doing any agriculture in Lagos state. What they are doing in Lagos is manufacturing and services. Abuja is our federal capital, and what they are providing them to consider land to them. I ask a question again. Do you know whether your ancestors used that land to pay compensation to that family? Today you want to retrieve a gift that your father gave to someone else some time ago. And when you see all these things are responsible for the kind of conflict. Like oil production caused a lot of communal conflict. When there is oil well here, you see the neighboring community, they say, no, we gave them that land. We must retrieve it today. And because of that, you see conflict all over the place. And once there is conflict, there will be no what? Production. Now, distrust between local government and oil company. I tell you, most of us don't trust the oil companies. True of us, we don't trust them. We don't believe in anything they are going to tell us. Anything they tell us, we say is not correct. Even anything that government tells, even the local community, they will tell you what? For where government they lie. May they carry their face, go the other side. That we are used to that. Even when they have a genuine interest. But you say no because of distrust between us, the oil companies, and our government. Move to the next slide. Move. We've said something about that. Strategy to enhance productivity. One, strengthening education and vocational training. You cannot produce when you don't have a skill. You must have skill before you can do production. You must have knowledge of what you are going to produce. Improved infrastructure, just like what I said. If we have electricity, constant electricity, some of us, a lot of persons will be involved in production. Some persons can easily set up a factory because you have a constant electricity. But you just imagine using diesel generator to run your business. You look at the cost of fuel alone and your profit. It will encourage you to go into production. Economic diversification. We have to diversify our economy, not relying on oil alone. We have to go into manufacturing and go back to our traditional occupation, which is farming. Move. Implementing transparent revenue management. If we know, if government, if they are managing our resources very well, you see that, yes, actually, they are managing these resources very well, you will trust them. Anything they tell you, you believe in them. But when you know that, they are not managing the resources very well, anything they tell you, you will not, even when government have genuine intention, you will not believe in their policies. Then investing on human capital development. Investing on human capital. Training our people. Creating regulatory environment. When you are doing production, we are saying, oh, we want to encourage production. It does not mean that everybody should be producing whatever they want to produce. The product must be regulated to ensure quality. Move to the next one. Now, gauging government effort towards improved productivity. You see that Delta State government, they visited a lot of countries in order to seek the attention of foreign investors that they should come and invest in our state. Even Delta State government are also at the verge of providing efficient electricity to the people. They've engaged a consultant to take inventory, to look at the inventory of, is it BDC you call them? BEDC. Look at their assets and liability. Interview people from the communities, because Delta State government intend to generate their own electricity. And if we generate electricity and distribute, we can boost productivity within the region. Then encourage public-private partnership for growth and development. Development is not only in the hands of government. Public individuals, private sector can also be deeply involved in the growth of that. Somebody mentioned community engagement and empowerment. We have to engage our community and empower our people. Although government have been doing well in this area, but you cannot empower me with a sewing machine, just like what I said earlier, and I don't have electricity to operate the sewing machine. You cannot give me a grinding machine to grind corn when I don't have electricity to power the machine. Then corporate social responsibility. You know, corporate social responsibility has been issue between communities and the oil sector. Yes, for instance, where AGIP is operating there, they have electricity, but the neighboring community doesn't have what? Doesn't have electricity. And that has brought a lot of conflict between host community and producing companies. Innovation and entrepreneurship support. There should be innovation. What is innovation? Innovation is very simple. I have a poultry. I'm producing about 10, let's say 1,000 bed. But I don't have market for that 1,000 bed. What will I do to preserve my beds till March? Either I slaughter them, package them, and have what? Refrigeration. Brand it. It's the same, the chicken they import to Nigeria is the same. The one is the same as those we produce where? In this country. But when they come in where what? Packaged with a brand name. So we must learn how to be innovative and brand our products. The same, the St. Williams and Jameson we are drinking is the same ogogoro. It's the same, 40%. The local kaikai is the same, 40% alcohol. But their own is what? Branded. They colored it and they gave it name, Jameson. But when you see our ogogoro, it's white, not colored. No what? No brand name. So how do we promote productivity? Increase what? Education. We have to invest in education because educated persons can easily adapt. Educated person can easily adapt, can easily embrace new technology. Then health. We have also to invest on health. When you are sick, you cannot do any production. If your workers are sick, they will always come with permission. I'm going to ECHO to treat myself. I'm going to FMCO. I'm going to Central Hospital. So when we have a healthy workforce, it's essential for economic growth, as health enables individuals to participate fully in productive activity. Demography. Luckily, just like what I said earlier, 67% of 43 million persons in the Niger Delta are what? Are within the productive age. So that should be an advantage that we need to exploit to increase productivity. But unfortunately, there's high level of unemployment within this age bracket in the Niger Delta. Move on. I've said something about innovation. We've said something about physical infrastructure. Then enabling factor. You said I should do production. If I should do production, there should be microeconomic stability. Not that I will buy the raw material for production, 5 naira today, in the evening, the price will do what? Will change. If I'm importing my raw material for production, know that after today, by tomorrow, the price of dollar will move from 1,500 to 2,000 naira. Then strong institutions, income and gender equality. When you look at the agricultural sector, you see that women are more involved in farming than men. That is the basic truth. Women are more involved. Even in the manufacturing sector, women are more involved. Then, lastly, urban-driven population. A lot of persons now, everybody wants to be in town. Everybody wants to move into township. Let's go to the last conclusion. Delta State oil producing region has immense potential. Why? Because this area, our population, we have high proportion of our population is tilted towards productive age. Addressing productivity barrier is essential for